The ultimate goal of democracy is to make government responsible to the governed. When the state has no one to answer to, sometimes guys with mustaches start taking over large portions of continental Europe. But are there government secrets that are too dangerous for the general population to know? The following list is of people who decided that, whatever their particular story was, the people had a right to know. Number 10. Benjamin Franklin. You may be surprised to learn that good old Benjamin Franklin is considered to be the very first whistleblower in United States history. Known as the Hutchinson Letters affair, the incident was one of many that led to the American Revolution. In June of 1773, letters written by the governor and the lieutenant governor of the province of Massachusetts Bay were leaked to the American public. In them, the British officials discussed changing certain key policies to give more power back to the British government. The anger that these letters produced ultimately led to the Boston Tea Party. And how did these letters get to the public in the first place? Via Benjamin Franklin, who was working in London on behalf of Bostonians at the time. Number 9. Mordechai Vanunu. Perhaps the most influential government-exposing citizen in modern history is former Israeli nuclear technician Mordechai Vanunu. In 1986, he revealed details of Israel's top-secret nuclear weapons program to the British press. Israel, who to this day does not admit to even having a nuclear weapons program, predictably did not like this, and so they kidnapped him in Italy and put him in jail after a closed-door trial. He spent 18 years in prison, 11 of which were in solitary confinement. He has since been released, but cannot leave Israel or speak to journalists, stipulations which he has been arrested for breaking on several occasions. Interestingly enough, Mordechai Vanunu also claims that the Israeli government played a role in the assassination of JFK. Number 8. Mark Felt. Mark Felt, better known by his nickname Deep Throat, which I will not make any jokes about, is responsible for blowing the cover off of the Watergate scandal. During Watergate, he was the second highest ranking person in the FBI. The information about Nixon's break-in that he passed along to the Washington Post is what made the entire story possible and ultimately what led to Nixon's resignation. While many government insiders, including Nixon himself, suspected that Mark Felt was Deep Throat, it remained a secret until 2005. Mark Felt finally acknowledged that he was in fact a whistleblower after apparently being persuaded by his daughter. He was played by Liam Neeson in the 2017 film Mark Felt, the man who brought down the White House. Number 7. Daniel Ellsberg. Daniel Ellsberg was an American military analyst and is the reason we know a lot of the shady things we do about the Vietnam War. He leaked the Pentagon Papers, top-secret government documents about decisions the government made about Vietnam. The Pentagon Papers revealed that the Johnson administration had decided to start bombing Cambodia and Laos, raiding the coast of Vietnam, and launching Marine Corps strikes, all without telling Congress they were doing so. He almost ended up in prison for 115 years, but got off because of governmental misconduct and illegal evidence gathering. It comes as no surprise then that Daniel supports WikiLeaks, Chelsea Manning, and Edward Snowden. Number 6. Linda Tripp. Linda Tripp was just your everyday boring U.S. civil servant until she decided to illegally wiretap Monica Lewinsky's phone. As you can imagine, Monica Lewinsky had a lot of very interesting things to say on that phone, such as the fact that she was having an affair with then President of the United States, Bill Clinton. Needless to say, she managed to pick up some specific details that were not known at the time to people who did not have access to Lewinsky's phone. Wiretapping is super illegal, and Tripp would have faced serious repercussions had she not made a deal with the court to get out of it by handing over the tapes. At the end of the Clinton administration, she was fired. The Clinton administration claims this was purely standard routine and had nothing at all to do with the fact that she wiretapped a woman who the president was having an affair with. Bill Clinton may not be the greatest liar in the world. Number 5. Frank Serpico. Frank Serpico, the whistleblower with the coolest name and possibly the best fashion sense on this list, was a member of the New York Police Department from 1959 to 1972. His leaked information about corruption in the department led to then Mayor John V. Lindsay to appoint the Knapp Commission to investigate the NYPD. The story became nationally famous after Al Pacino played Frank Serpico in the 1973 film Serpico. People under the age of 30 know about Frank Serpico because of the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Charlie pretends to be Frank Serpico. Exposing police corruption, it turns out, can be pretty dangerous. In 1971, Frank Serpico was shot in the face by a heroin dealer. The other police officers who were making the bust with him just left him there since he had become widely despised. Luckily, a random guy who lived in the building heard the gunshots and came down and called an ambulance, and Serpico survived, though he would never regain hearing in his left ear. Number 4. Karen Silkwood. Karen Silkwood was an American chemical technician and labor union activist who blew the whistle on a variety of unsafe practices related to safety concerns for workers at the Kerr-McGee-Cimarron fuel fabrication site in Oklahoma, a nuclear facility. If I worked at a nuclear facility, I too would be pretty concerned about safety. Like Frank Serpico, she got her own movie, Silkwood, where she's played by Meryl Streep. Unlike Serpico, however, she would not be alive to see it. Karen Silkwood died under what can only be described as extremely suspicious circumstances. She was in a fatal car accident that happened while she was driving from a union meeting to what would have been a meeting with the New York Times. None of the documents that she had with her at the union meeting were found in the car, or ever found for that matter. So either a random person on State Highway 74 broke into her crashed car and took them but nothing else, or someone was out to get her.
Though it might seem like she exposed the Kerr-McGee Corporation, the operators of the power plant, further investigations discovered that about 45 pounds, about 20 kilograms of plutonium had been misplaced at the plant. According to journalist Richard L. Roschke's book, her leaks had a deeper significance in exposing the government, and it was the government that carried out her assassination and covered up details about her death. He suggested that the highest levels of government, including the CIA, were involved in a secret underground plutonium smuggling ring.
Number 3. Chelsea Manning and WikiLeaks. Chelsea Manning, formerly known as Bradley Manning, is one of the most controversial whistleblowers in United States history. She was convicted by court-martial in 2013 of violations of the Espionage Act, among a variety of other offenses, after she gave WikiLeaks nearly 750,000 classified or simply highly sensitive military documents. She was imprisoned from 2010 to 2017. Chelsea Manning had access to classified information due to her position as an intelligence analyst for an army unit in Iraq. Among the files she leaked was the Baghdad airstrike video, which features U.S. military personnel accidentally firing at Reuters reporters whose cameras they mistook for weapons. The leak essentially put the now infamous WikiLeaks on the map. WikiLeaks is run by Australian computer programmer Julian Assange, who, due to various legal charges against him, currently lives in the Ecuadorian embassy in London. In 2016, WikiLeaks hosted the infamous Clinton emails that many see as having played a huge role in Donald Trump's victory. Number 2. Gordon Cooper and Leland Melvin. Perhaps the biggest secret that the government is accused of hiding, at least by people on the internet, is the existence of UFOs. Well, it isn't just internet weirdos who think this. There's also former astronaut and test pilot Gordon Cooper. All the way until his death at the age of 77, Cooper maintained that the U.S. government was covering up information about UFOs from the public. He stated that he had seen several unexplained aircraft during his career, and that hundreds of other sightings had happened as well, but they had all just been swept under the rug by the feds. He even testified about it to the UN. Another former astronaut, Leland Melvin, has expressed somewhat similar sentiments on Twitter. When asked what his thoughts on intelligent life outside Earth were, and whether or not he had ever seen a UFO, Melvin, who has spent over 500 hours in space, responded by saying that, "I have not seen one in space or on the ground, but thought I saw something organic, alien-like, floating out of the payload bay. At Astro Comrade and I called the ground to ask what it could be, and it was ice that had broken off the Freon hoses. Translucent, curved, organic looking." When asked if he thought NASA could be lying about this, he simply yet spookily responded, don't think so, but you never know. Number 1. Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden is the most influential whistleblower in recent American history, and a highly polarizing figure in political discussions. He's sort of like the Last Jedi of whistleblowers, either loved or hated. A former CIA employee and contractor for the government, Snowden leaked classified information about the NSA's global surveillance programs in 2013. He currently lives somewhere in Moscow, where he has political asylum. There are probably many people whose entire job it is to find out where exactly in Moscow he is. Snowden has stated that he chose to reveal the existence of the government's mass surveillance programs because "I do not want to live in a world where everything I do and say is recorded," and that he wanted to inform the public as to that which is done in their name and that which is done against them. Various political figures, including Al Gore and Jimmy Carter, have voiced support for Snowden's actions and called for the government to give him diplomatic immunity. Rand Paul has stated that he believes that history is going to judge that he revealed great abuses of our government. Like some of the whistleblowers who came before him, Snowden also has his own movie, Snowden, starring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Snowden is not only the most influential modern whistleblower, but the biggest nerd whistleblower as well. According to Reuters, when he was a web editor for a startup that is online, his profile included the following information. I like Japanese, I like food, I like martial arts, I like ponies, I like guns, I like food, I like girls, I like my girlish figure that attracts girls, and I like my lamer friends. That's the best biography you'll get out of me, coppers. So who knows, the next time you think about making fun of someone with an anime profile picture, consider the possibility that they just may go on to become one of the most important figures in the history of U.S. government intelligence. So what do you think? Were the actions of all these people justified? Are there secrets that are better left as secrets? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a like and click that bell icon to be notified next time we post a video. Thanks for watching.